Diversity in the workforce. That's easy, right?
No, that's not it. Maybe we should first introduce ourselves.
Hi, we are Jessica, Marissa and Hendrik. That looks a bit more diverse, don't you think?
Slightly, we are getting there. Diversity has to do with more than someone's race, size, shape and color. Diversity is a broad element of a corporate strategy and is something that should be managed appropriately. It does not only include the fair treatment of people, but it also includes how different skills sets are being used to the maximum benefit of the organization. Throughout this presentation, we will show you what diversity is and which challenges are faced by the multinational enterprise, the MNE, when managing diversity. Sit back and relax.
Diversity is generally defined as the practice of addressing and supporting multiple lifestyles and personal characteristics within a defined group. Aspects of diversity could relate to age, color, disability, education, origin, family status, gender, and as you can see, much more.
Then, what is diversity management? That is, taking into mind this definition directly linked to inclusion of employees of diverse background. In today's workplace, diversity management should lead to direct business results. Globalization has forced organizations to increase the ability to learn and collaborate to manage diversity. First of all, diversity management is the management of non-discriminatory way of hiring and managing people. Secondly, it's about managing the differences in people and getting the most out of them.
Let's visualize it. Nowadays, people want to be recognized for their own identity. They don't want to be blended together like a vegetable in a vegetable soup. Instead, they want to be mixed as vegetables into a salad. The workforce is a mixed salad where each piece still has its own identity and taste. Diversity issues are now considered important and are projected to become even more important in the future due to increased difference in our population as a result of globalization. For the tourism industry, diversity is already extremely important because the industry reaches out to all continents, opening the workforce to people with many differences, be it the language they speak, the skin color they have, or the work experience they have had. As a result, the MNEs in this industry are subjected to competition from every continent. Diversity management is needed in this environment in order to become capable to survive in the highly competitive industry.
So now you may think, I'm an American airline, we call ourselves American Airlines, we mostly fly Americans, we speak with an American accent, so let's make it easy and hire American men to be our pilots. They will work well together, and by the way, management is dominated by American men, and our sales stations are dominated by, guess what, Americans. Fortunately, American Airlines has not been operating this way. American Airlines has been a pioneer in implementing fair-minded policies and practices in order to attract a diversity of people. The airline has understood the added value of a diversified workforce, but for many companies it is a major challenge to understand this value. MNEs, which create an inclusive and harmonious environment, can benefit from a wide range of benefits. First of all, a diverse workforce will produce stronger ideas and fresher thinking. Second, creating an inclusive and harmonious environment is understood to be a key driver in employee engagement and commitment. Thirdly, a diverse workforce avoids falling into the trap of negative stereotypes and personal barriers. And then finally, a diverse workforce helps people at the glass ceiling rather than at the sticky floor. Additionally, diversity within the workforce improves a company's image and it creates creativity. Hence, in an era when flexibility and creativity are keys to competitiveness, diversity is critical for an organization's success.
Let's take the airline industry again as example. KLM years ago started to hire Japanese cabin crew to work on their route between Amsterdam and Tokyo. They did not do this for any other reason than to diversify the staff on board the aircraft. Japanese cabin crew were able to bring the understanding of the Japanese culture, leading to higher customer satisfaction. Additionally, the Dutch brought on board their language and their culture knowledge, which was highly welcomed by the Dutch travellers. Consequently, the Dutch and Japanese staff slowly started to understand each other better, and KLM's competitive advantage was quickly raised on that route. Okay, you're still with us? It can not get that easy, right?
Indeed, there are some challenges on the way. Legislation forces companies to remove prejudice and give people a fair chance, which leads automatically to an increase in diversity. For example, managers who do use prejudice may be challenged with complaints and legal actions against the organization. For example, a woman who was passed over for promotion to the job of general manager of American Airlines LaGuardia Airport Office has earned $7.1 million in compensatory and punitive damages for sex, age, and disability discrimination. Additionally, a negative attitude such as prejudice, stereotyping, and discrimination can harm working relationships and damage moral and work productivity. Hence, they should never exist in a company. A great challenge for companies operating within the tourism industry is to tackle these attitudes.
However, diversity is much more than equal opportunities and the abolishing of any form of discrimination. Once this process has taken place, the greatest challenge for organizations in the tourism industry is to not only recognize the existence of differences, but the challenge is to recognize the value of these differences. It is time for the organization to take benefit of the diversity. It is essential that the differences between employees are turned into creativity and productivity. Essential is that we do not look from only a personal or interpersonal level, but that we look at how a company is structured.
The approach to diversity management may be even more diverse than diversity management itself. However, there are tools that could be used to overcome the majority of these challenges to establish a diverse workforce. Those skills are being valued. To start, managers within the workforce must understand discrimination and its consequences. They must also recognize their own culture, biases, and prejudices. Managers must be committed to change the organizational structure. Removing barriers and opening the organization for change will open the doors up for diversity. Thirdly, the workforce should be a dialogue in order to stimulate communication between employees. Through gatherings and meetings, employees should be able to listen to others and to share their own ideas. Lastly, the inclusion and involvement of minority groups into more diverse workforce can be sustained by the use of formal and informal mentoring programs and by encouraging support groups.
Then, how do we take the most out of employees in a diverse workforce? Firstly, the organizational culture must create an expectation of high standards of performance for everyone.
Well, that could be done through rewards and stimulating people. I see that through this way, employees are treated very fairly and based on their work, rather than on their skin color or background.
Then, the organization must stimulate personal development.
Great! It will give people in the organization the chance to grow within the organization, no matter their background.
Also, the organization must encourage openness.
Well, I had a colleague at work that was very religious, and I believed in completely different values than I do. To be honest, I learnt a lot from that.
And finally, the organization must have a relatively non-bureaucratic structure.
I see. I mean that a company needs a structure that promotes the exchange of ideas and welcomes constructive challenges, right?
And by applying all of this, companies within the tourism industry are able to overcome the identified challenges of diversity management. We discussed what diversity management is, which benefits diversity brings, how a workforce could acknowledge diversity and abandon any negative attitude towards it, and we discussed how diversity can be turned into creativity and productivity. Please bear in mind that this video was created with Brazilian, Australian, Dutch, male and female efforts. We know that we are different, but we value each other's skills and we use them to our benefits. That's exactly how diversity should be managed. Thank you for your listening.